Well, hello everyone, and welcome to 30 Minutes of Wisdom. We get together twice a month on the second and fourth Friday to share personal and professional development for each and every one of you. And I think most of you love Jim Rohn as our business philosopher. He said, work twice as hard on yourself as you do on your business, because you are your business. And so today we have a really, really wonderful guest that I was introduced to, believe it or not, over a decade ago by a mutual friend, Dr. Steve Tubman, who you're going to get to meet very soon. And when I first spoke to him, it was as if I was connecting with an old friend. He made me feel so comfortable. He's so warm and welcoming that it was such a treat. And then I read his book and my life changed. I was so touched and inspired by this beautiful story and parable of, how simple actions can make a profound difference in our personal and professional life. So I have been sharing his books for all these years since I've met him, and he has created a movement which we're going to talk about later. So he is a sought after speaker all over the world for companies' leadership and sales conferences. And he shares the platform from some of the top business leaders of today and broadcast personalities, even a former president, US president. He's the author of numerous books on sales, marketing, and influence, and total book sales have gone well over 1 million. His book, The Go Giver, co-authored with John David Mann, itself has sold over 975,000 copies and is in many, many languages. So, in our business, we're all over the world. This is something you can share with your friends all over the world. He's got, and his newest parable is the Go Giver in the Go Giver series is the Go Giver Influence. And I love this. He's an advocate, supporter, and defender of the free enterprise system, and believing that the amount of money one makes is directly proportional to how many people you serve. Now, isn't that a perfect fit for our business? And I love, we share this in common, an unapologetic animal fanatic and past member and board of directors for Furry Friends Adoption Clinic and Ranch. And his wisdom is great. His message is simple and profound. And it is my pleasure to welcome Bob Burg.
Hello, Robin. It is great to be with you. It always is. I love speaking with you, and we do so far too seldom.
Okay, we're going to do more. I think we both
I love
gotten
it.
whiter over the years, huh?
Huh?
I think our hair has both gotten whiter over the
Well,
years.
yeah, but yours looks good on you.
I don't know. You're looking pretty good, Bob. Well, let's jump in because 30 minutes goes back really fast. And I always love to hear you share, what inspired you and John to even start this? You probably didn't even know it was going to turn into a movement, but what inspired you to write the original story?
Yeah. So years and years ago, back in the 90s, early to mid 90s, I had my first book out called Endless Referrals. The subtitle was Network Your Everyday Contacts into Sales. And it was a how-to book. It was really a how-to manual on how business people, entrepreneurs, salespeople who knew they had a great product or service or business model or what have you, and they knew it brought exceptional value to others, made a big difference in the lives of others, yet they may not have felt comfortable or confident with the idea of going out into their communities and creating and cultivating the relationships with people that would lead people to want to do business with them directly and refer them to others. So endless referrals was the system to do that. What is a system? I define a system as the process of predictably achieving a goal based on a logical and specific set of how-to principles, right? The key is predictability. If it's been proven that by doing A, you'll get the desired results of B, then all you need to do is A and continue to do A and continue to do A, and you'll eventually get the desired results of B. That's what the book, was really about. But I'd always read parables since I had gotten in sales some 40 years ago or so. starting with Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World and Klassen's Richest Man in Babylon. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, I think it was, you had the 1 Minute series by Doctors Blanchard and Johnson. And, with Chris Widener, who writes wonderful stuff, and John Gordon. There's a lot of great. And I always found that when I'd read a parable, I felt more connected with the author, with the characters, with the story, and with the lesson. I think stories connect on
Mm.
a heart level in a way that a how-to book doesn't, which doesn't mean how-to books aren't important. I mean, I've got hundreds of them, or maybe thousands, I'm not sure. So
A lot.
but I think there's a difference between a how-to and a parable. So I always thought, wouldn't it be great to take the basic premise of endless referrals, which was that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. That's been my thing for 40 years, and certainly the 30 years I've been speaking and writing and so forth. So if we could take that and put it into parable form. So, the first thing was to ask the question in terms of the title, what's the essence of that person who can quickly and sustainably build these know, like, and trust relationships over and over and over again? And the answer is they're givers. They're people who are always focused on bringing immense value to others.
Mm.
Okay. And so coming up with the name, the Go Giver, go for the action part of it, Go Giver, that was the easy part. The best thing I did for that book, though, right? The best thing I did for the book was asking John David Mann. When I say asking John David Mann, I mean pleading with John David Mann to be the co-author and really the lead writer / storyteller, because he's I'm a how-to guy. I'm step 1, step 2, step 3. John is a brilliant writer. And fortunately, he said yes to that, and we collaborated. And I think we wrote the book in a few months. And a year later, and 25 rejections later from publishing houses, we finally found our perfect publishing partner, Portfolio, a business division of Penguin Random House, and that's how the first one kind of began.
I love this story. And I think you perked a lot of people's interest by talking about endless referrals. And we'll talk about that at the end because you have so many resources. I was having fun. Every time I do this, I just have such a good time going back through your websites
Thank you.
and and there's so much value there. You absolutely embody what you talk about is giving so
Thank
much
you.
value, and it's available
Oh,
on
you
your
too.
sites. And we'll put that in the chat so people know. So, okay, let's get into it. The more you give, the more you get is basically it. And you've labeled this the 5 stratospheric laws of success. So and I have my sheet right here. And everybody, just so you know, you can download this from Bob's site,
Yeah.
thegogiver.com. And Gregory pulled his out yesterday and brought it into me proudly, showing it to me, saying, "Here, I've got it. I still have it."
Thank you.
So let's jump in because this kind of explains it all so beautifully. And this is a direct alignment with our business, which is a relationship
Sure.
business.
Oh, absolutely.
And you embody that so beautifully. So go for it.
Well, I mean, the basic premise, and you alluded to it in the promotional materials, is that shifting your focus, and this is really the key because it all begins with that, shifting your focus from getting to giving. Now, again, when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, understanding that not only is that a more pleasant way of conducting business, a more fulfilling way of doing business, it's the most financially profitable way as well, and not for some way out there woo woo, uh, magical, mystical reason. It actually makes logical sense. It makes rational sense. You think about it. When you're that person who can take your focus off yourself and instead place it on others, discovering what they want, what they need, what they desire, and helping them to get that. When helping them overcome their problems and challenges, when helping to them to get closer to happiness, right? When you're that person, people feel good about you. People want to get to know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to be a part of your business, maybe as a business builder, maybe as a customer who can then refer other customers or whatever. But they definitely want to be a part of your life. Okay.
Mm,
So again, this is very, just really, it's a tie into human nature. The key is you need to authentically have that focus, right? And so the five laws kind of back up that premise. So the laws themselves are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. The first law, the law of value, says your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Now, this sounds kind of counterintuitive, if not counterproductive, when you first hear it. Give more in value than you take in payment. I mean, that sounds like a recipe for bankruptcy, right? So to understand this, we simply need to understand the difference between price and value. Okay.
mm,
Price is a dollar figure. It's a dollar amount. It's finite. It is what it is. Okay. Value, on the other hand, is the relative worth or desirability of a thing, of something, to the end user or beholder. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, what have you, that brings so much worth or value to another human being that they will willingly exchange their money for it, as well as whether it's their time or their, what have you. But in this case, let's just say exchange their money for this and be glad they did, while you make a very healthy profit. Now, an example outside the business would be if you were to hire an accountant to do your taxes and she charged you $1,000. That's her fee or her price, right? $1,000. But what value does she give you in exchange? Well, she saves you well over five, or she saves you $5,000 in taxes. She saves you countless hours of time, and she provides you and your family with the security and the peace of mind of knowing it was done correctly. So she actually gave you well over $5,000 in value in exchange for $1,000 fee or price. She gave you more in value than she took in payment. So you feel great about it. And she made a very, very healthy profit, which she should. In any free market based exchange, and when we say free market, we simply mean no one is forced to do business with anyone else. Okay. In any market based exchange, there should always be at least two profits: the buyer profits and the seller profits, because each of them come away better off afterwards than they were beforehand. But we need to understand why the exchange happened in the first place, because your accountant was not focused on her fee. She was focused on bringing you immense value.
mm,
Okay. The fee was basically her reward. This is why John and I say that money is simply an echo of value. That's all it is. Money is simply an echo of value. It's the thunder, if you will, to value's lightning, meaning nothing more than that the value must come first. That's the focus. Okay. The value comes first. The money you receive is a natural result of the value you provide. Now, when you have a customer, let's say, and we'll take this from the form, not in the vernacular, not of a business builder, but just a customer, okay, consumer. All right. Well, when they buy from you, what are they receiving? It's a lot more than just the product and the service, right? They're receiving, whether it's great help, the confidence, great feeling, whether it's the peace of mind, all the things that it brings to another person, right? In exchange for money that they're paying. That's great. They come away much better off than they were before, and you make a very healthy profit, which again, you should. Now, that's the law of value. But now let's take it to the next level. And that's the law of compensation. And this says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So, where law number one says to give more in value than you take in payment, law number two tells us that the more people whose lives you touch with the exceptional value you provide, the more money with which you'll be rewarded. Your accountant in the first example did a great job of giving you more in value than she took in payment. If you're her customer, you feel great about her, you would do business with her again, and you would probably refer her to others. Well, her other customers feel the same way. So our accountant is very quickly amassing what we call an army of personal walking ambassadors. Now, your business model does even better, because let's say you are developing a good clientele, okay, in terms of consumers, right? Now, these consumers feel great about you, right? Because they love the product. They will do business with you again, and they will tell others about you. Okay, so that grows your business more and more. But the other thing is, you have people in your organization who are doing the same thing. And you have other people in your, and these people have people in their organization doing the same thing, which means that not only are you able to touch people's lives directly, but you're able to touch people's lives indirectly,
True.
which means you're able to serve tens of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. It's kind of limitless, right? And so the more people who you serve directly and or indirectly, the more money with which you'll be rewarded. This is why referrals are so important. And to be able to have consumers refer you is so excuse me, is so important, because with referrals, there are certain benefits just to that. Referred prospects are easier to set the appointment with. Obviously, you're going in on borrowed influence. With referred prospects, price is less of an issue. Borrowed credibility, so you can sell on high value rather than low price. With a referred prospect, it's easier to complete the actual sale, and because you're going in on borrowed trust, or what we call vicarious experience. In other words, no, this person's never done business with you, but someone who they know, like, and trust has said, oh yeah, this person is the one, that he or she is all you need to talk to speak with. The product's unbelievable, and they are there to help you, and they care about you, and they've got your best net, right? And then the perhaps the best benefit of all of working with referred prospects is referred prospects are already of the mindset that that's how you do business, since that's how they met you. So in their world, you meet new prospects through referrals and introductions. You sell on high value rather than low price. You complete the transaction or the sale, and you are referred to others, as long as you approach that the correct way. So law number one and law number two, we could say exceptional value plus significant reach equals very, very high compensation. Those are the first two laws.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
You want to go
And
on
you're
to the
right.
third, fourth, and fifth, or do
We
you have any
do.
questions?
Go for it. No, no, this is just such a perfect fit for our business model, because it is, and I think a lot of people after this call today are going to access your endless referrals and realize that
Mhm.
it's so much easier than people think. And
Well,
so, yeah, go for it.
Robin, if they go to Burg, BURG.com,
Hmm.
and they subscribe to the list, they will receive, I think it's a 23-part video series on endless referrals videos about
That
in the
you
future, about
offer
two or three that I did.
generously.
Well, it's not generous. It just is what it is. But, but thank you. But yeah, I think it's 23 or 32. I think we'll say 23 to, and yeah, and they're all basically how to meet someone and go through the entire process of how to meet someone and how to create that connection with them. So yeah, Burg.com.
It's all
Um,
about connection and relationships. I've been
that's
re-listening
exactly
to a
what
lot
it's
of them and just loving it, going, this is our business. It's so perfect.
about.
Okay, we're getting into 3, 4, and 5, law of
Yeah,
influence.
and I'll go quickly on these. I'll do a
Yeah,
Reader's
that's fine.
Digest
No,
version of these.
we love it.
Law of influence says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Now,
Wow.
again, this sounds counterproductive at best, and maybe even Pollyanna-ish, right? At worst. Um, and yet it makes real sense when you think about it, because the greatest leaders, top influencers, highest money earning salespeople and business owners and direct sales people, this is how they run their lives and conduct their businesses. They're always looking for ways to benefit the other person. It's who they are. And because it's who they are, it's what they do. You and Gregory are great examples of that. You're the embodiments of that. And so, you know, So this again, think about it, right? And I want to make this point to clarify because I think this is important because it can be easily misunderstood. When we say place the other person's interests first, we certainly do not mean that you should be anyone's doormat or a martyr or self sacrificial in any way. Absolutely not at all. That has nothing to do with it. It's simply understanding that, as Joe, the protege in the story, learned from several of the mentors, the golden rule of sales, of business, of networking is, as we talked about earlier, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. Well, Robin, there's no faster, more powerful, or more effective way to elicit those types of feelings toward you in others than by genuinely moving from what we call an I focus or me focus to an other focus, or as Sam, one of the mentors in the story, advised Joe, making your win all about the other person's win.
Mm. And you said authenticity several times because some people can get into, oh, this is a great technique to make more money. But truly, people know it if you're not being authentic.
It tends to not be sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to the law of authenticity. Good, great
Okay.
segue. You're very professional. Great segue. You set that up wonderfully. The fourth law is the law of authenticity, which simply says the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. And in this part of the story, the mentor here, Deborah Davenport, shared a very important lesson, and that is that all the skills in the world, the sales skills, technical skills, people skills, as important as they are, and they are all indeed very, very important, they're also all for naught if you don't come at it from your true, authentic core. But when you do, when you, as we like to say, show up as yourself day after day, week after week, month after month, people feel good about you. They feel comfortable with you. They feel safe with you. And why wouldn't they? They know who they're getting, right? And that's when that like and love and trust come into play. So
Mm.
authenticity is very key. To be able to show up authentically, though, we need to understand our strengths and our weaknesses, because we all have both. But we need to know those strengths which that we have, that we can lead with, because as human beings, we're so emotionally involved with ourselves. It's sometimes difficult to really recognize and embrace our greatness within, because we see the world from our own viewpoint, our own perspective, and to us, well, if we can do this, so can everybody. But that's not necessarily true. As Deborah discovered in the story, we all have our own unique gifts. And this is why it's important for the people who in this business, in your business, the people who are your mentors, they're the people you want to get with and have them help you to be able to recognize those strengths that you possess.
Beautiful.
Okay.
It's hard to see them on our own
It,
sometimes.
it of course it is, absolutely. I still see myself in the mirror sometimes as that 16-year-old skinny kid who was too shy to talk to girls. So I mean, I and and who, spit milk out of his nose, right? And that was last year. No, but it was a couple of years ago. But anyway, no. So, but anyway, so that's the law of authenticity. We've got to be, we've got to come at it from our authentic core and lead with our strengths. And then law number 5 is the law of receptivity. And the law of receptivity simply says the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. And Robin, this is nothing more than understanding that, yeah, you breathe out, but you also have to breathe in. It's not one or the other. We breathe out carbon dioxide. We breathe in oxygen. We breathe out, which is giving. We breathe in, which is receiving. And despite the messages of lack that we get from the world around us, and we get so many horribly negative messages regarding money, prosperity, abundance, business, what have you, okay? Put that aside, because the fact is, giving and receiving are not opposite concepts. Giving and receiving are simply two sides of the very same coin, and they work together in tandem. It's not, are you a giver or a receiver. You're a giver and a receiver. Now, what you know is that it starts with the giving. Your focus must be on genuinely and authentically giving, providing value to others. As you do this, you create that, what John David Mann and I call the benevolent context for your
Mm.
success. Remember, people aren't going to buy from you or even join your organization because you want them to. They're going to do so because they believe their lives will be better off by doing so than by not doing so. So it always has to come from the perspective of giving value to them and seeing it through their eyes. Now, once we do this, we do need to have the mindset to be able to receive. And that can be difficult because, again, in a world that focuses on lack and teaches lack, I mean, it just, and it's not that they do it on purpose, it's just how things are. Okay. Um, I think it's important to make a proactive study on prosperity. That's why I think people like Randy Gage and Bob Proctor and Ellen Rogan and Sharon Lechter and David Nagel, Ken Honda, all these great people out there who speak and write and post and do videos and blog on prosperity. I mean, look them up and study them. I mean, because the garbage of lack and so forth comes at us all the time, constantly. We can't help but taking some of it in. So when we purposefully focus and learn prosperity, and we read those books and we watch those videos and we listen, you know what I'm saying? That's when we're able to kind of really fight that and replace those negative, as Randy Gage calls them, those negative memes with the positive ones. And we're much more likely to be able to accept the prosperity that really is our birthright.
I love how you explain that. I mean, I say it a little bit differently, but giving and receiving are part of the same cycle. And if
Exactly.
you've given a lot and you haven't received a lot, I say there's a stockpile waiting
Absolutely.
for our willingness to open up and receive it, because so many people have bought into what we're immersed in our media and whatever, that you know it's not okay to have money. There's fear, all that negative programming around it. And Sharon Lechter is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love her.
I love learning from her, and I've had the
Everybody's
privilege
mentor.
of interviewing her several times. And that book, Outwitting the Devil, is amazing,
Oh,
isn't it? A lot of people don't know that book was the sequel to Think and Grow Rich.
that's right. That's right.
And the Go-Giver has moved into the parable category with all those other ones that you've said of the great business classics of
Thank you.
business parables. And we're privileged to be part of that. So we have just a few minutes left, and I know you have so many things that are available for people. So if you could talk about how people can get connected, Bob, to the Go-Giver movement. You already mentioned about the endless referrals. There's Burg.com. There's also thegogiver.com. So could you share a little bit about, you have so much available, but
Yeah, I mean, and pretty much everything is at the main site at Burg.com, and that's where you can take a look at the books if you'd like and get a free chapter or the excerpt and see if you like where the story is heading for any of the books that we have listed up there. And then there's the blog and I have a podcast and yada yada yada, and and if you scroll down, I should know it's on my own website, right? And if you scroll down, you can connect with me on social media, and we have a
Facebook Live.
I don't do those anymore. I actually
Okay.
stopped doing those. Yeah, we keep them up there. We keep about 15 of them up there, I think, and then I stopped doing them. I was doing so many things, it was starting to just kind of all blend
Right.
together, and not in a good way. in my own mind, it was. But and then we have a Success Alliance mentorship community that we're about to release, and again, if you subscribe at Burg.com, you'll get notified when we're ready to open that.
Well, I remember when the pandemic began, you were just such a voice of reason to listen to regularly.
Oh,
I
thank you.
reached out to my trusted sources and went, ah, there's some sanity here. So
Oh, thank you.
you've just touched so many people all over the world with this beautiful, beautiful, wise parable that you and John have created that has become a movement. So we invite everyone to tap into the wisdom here with this great man who we're privileged to share with all of you.
Thank you.
So, and please do the same, spread the word. This is the book. And look at how little it is. And it's a story. And then we talk about in our business, information tells, stories sell. And here we have this beautiful story that is not very long at all. And it's just so engaging. And I think it's time for me to reread it. I haven't reread it in a long time because it's always a treat to do that. I started to little bits of it and it just I felt this comfort once again, because it's what our business is about. So Bob, a joy, a treat, a pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity, sharing so openly with so many. And I invite everyone to tap into the wisdom of Bob Burg and the Go-Giver philosophy and the 5 laws of stratospheric success. You can download this document. There's a whole section of free downloads of beautiful quotes and things that you can share on your pages and, continue to share. We're in the business of sharing and caring.
That's right.
I think everyone is. Thank you. But any final words before we complete?
No, I just wish everybody a wonderful, what are we at the January, February, March, getting through the first quarter. So so wonderful spring, summer, winter, and just keep up the great work. Keep on touching people's lives.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
My
Bye,
pleasure.
everybody. Thank you, Bob.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.